Hello and welcome to Dancers Support Mission by Sabine for Shine Your Light. We have a new episode of Dancer to Dancer, Words of Wisdom. I created this platform to meet the person behind the dancer and share with you all not only the highlights of someone's career, but also the challenges behind the scenes. Truly, my wish is to bring healing into the dance world, dancing to heal, healing to dance, one artist at a time and one personal story at a time. I do believe that storytelling gives us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience, and it can shape, strengthen, or even challenge our opinions and values. Hopefully, this will allow you to embark or reflect on your own personal healing journey, inspired by others' experiences. So if you find those interviews valuable and interesting, please don't forget to share them with your friends, and don't forget to send me some feedback. So today, I'm delighted to welcome Julie Gardette. Julie is a French friend of mine, but we're going to speak English anyway. Julie, thank you so much for taking the time to meet me. I know you're a very busy lady with 3 young children, so that in itself is a full-time job. But you're also very busy in many other things. So thank you for being here today with me.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
So Julie, we met when we were both dancing with the Dutch National Ballet. That's kind of a while ago. I know you were much younger than me, so you were at the start of your career. You were like this little French
baby,
baby, but very talented, very French, but not in the bad way that everybody tells you.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, I think for me, you have
a good way of being French.
Yeah, you have the features of a French actress, and the charm also, even as a dancer, it's very clear on your on stage. That's why. And I haven't seen you actually doing all the principal roles that you did afterwards, because
yeah, you saw me as a baby, doing
yeah,
small roles.
but the baby was very talented. So yeah, so that's it for my little introduction, because I want you to talk about your, the beginning of your, not only the career, but I would like to know when you started dancing, why you started dancing, and maybe what was the turning point where you decided that this would be a profession for you, because it's a big turning point, right?
Yeah, so I started dancing when I was around 6 years old, like any other little girl. My mom brought me to ballet. I have a big sister. She used to dance and then she stopped. So somehow, second daughter, my mother bring me to ballet class. At first, I didn't want to go. I was very shy. So I really didn't enjoy much of ballet class. And then maybe I open up a bit, I don't know, or maybe the teacher was nice. I don't know, something that I liked maybe in the ballet studio. So I went to the classes, I continued. And how can I say, like, I never thought I would be a ballet dancer in my life, ever. Somehow I just enjoy being in the ballet studio. For me, it was easy to understand what they were talking about, the movements, the musicality. I don't know, it was quite, I could observe and recreate with my body. It was fun. It was fun. It was really fun. And that's all. I mean, then my teacher actually decided for me, kind of, because she said to my mom, oh, she's talented. Maybe she has potential. She should try to enter in the Conservatoire in Lyon, in my city. So then I went to the Conservatoire and I did this study, when you do work, like school work in the morning and ballet
Part-time, yeah.
So I did that from quite young, from 10 years old.
Okay.
And then I did all that without thinking, just everything was simple. I never had this feeling of, oh, ballet is hard. Somehow, I mean, of course, physically, it's quite, when you do a split and all that, it's hard, but I don't know, I just enjoyed the atmosphere in a class, and it was challenging with the brain as well, to understand and to feel the movement. I don't know. So I never really, and I continued. I did my diploma. I did my
But
gold medal.
during all that time, you did not think you were going to be a dancer. You just did it because.
No, never. I just did it because that was the pattern you follow with the school, and you just go to your ballet class every day, and that's it. And I liked it. And then again, my teacher said, you should go further. You should enter the Conservatoire Supérieur, try to enter. And then I do it, and it worked. And then I was there. I never questioned myself really if I want to become a professional, because it was like it was meant to be somehow. Like, I don't know, of course not. When you know how hard it is to enter the professional world, it's not, but everything was so smooth and easy from the beginning. And my teacher decided for me, kind of like, oh, you should try. End of Conservatoire Supérieur, I tried the auditions for ballet, and that was a bit harder because not so easy when you're very young to enter.
That's in Paris, right?
I was in Lyon still.
Okay.
That's the Conservatoire Supérieur in Lyon. So I was lucky to do all my studying in my city. So that was really, really nice. And then I did the auditions for companies, and nothing was showing up. And suddenly Pietragalla, Marie-Claude Pietragalla, famous French star, she was in the Ballet de Marseille then. So she offered me a first job, and that's how it started.
So, well, how did you meet her? I mean, because it's like it fell on your plate or something.
I did the audition, the open audition with like 200 girls around me. And at the end, we were only 2 girls staying. And that's it. And then they called me because they needed some extras for Giselle. They were doing a new version of Giselle. And they were missing some people. And I just went. And
How old were you then?
17.
Okay, so it's before you even finished your schooling, basically.
I did finish because I'm from the November. So I did in June finish my baccalaureate. And then I went, I was free from school, let's say. Cool. And then I could go there. So I went to the Ballet de Marseille with Pietra.
So your first experience was with the Ballet de Marseille as a professional.
Yes. Yeah.
And so what happened afterwards?
After Marseille or after I entered the company?
Well, either or, I don't know. Do you want to tell us something about your first experience in the company?
It was fun to discover the professional side of it. I was really the baby of the company, and all the older dancers, they were guiding me, and it was really fun. They really took good care of me. Then after Marseille, I stayed only 1 year there. And then I met Noah Gelber from Foresight. And at this point, just after Marseille, he went to Amsterdam to set the same ballet he was setting from Foresight. And he said, oh, maybe you should give it a try. And we went there, and that's how we end up in Amsterdam. I say we because I met my husband in Marseille. He was not my husband then. And then we moved together there. So.
And you're still together with 3 beautiful children.
Exactly.
So then so when you joined Amsterdam, you were 18?
I was, yes, actually, I'm thinking maybe 18 and a half or something, going to 19, something like this, yeah.
You were really a baby.
I was a baby.
So you stayed a few years. I mean, I left in the meantime, I don't know.
I left, I was there.
Left in 2001, and then I left again in 2005.
Because I arrived in 2001.
Okay.
So I didn't know you then when I first arrived.
When I came back.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
I left 2000. I stayed 6 years, so 2007 I left for Zurich.
So what was your drive for changing company?
Every time I changed company was really, how can I say? I wanted more. I wanted to dance. And if people wouldn't make me dance or what, because I really felt like I was ready to dance and to have more. And it was mostly because of the atmosphere. I always left because something was wrong with either with me or with the director or the ballet masters, but something wrong with the atmosphere of work. Not really the repertoire or dancing, because this is a ballet class every day that I always enjoyed. It's more the atmosphere. Like when you feel if in front the people, they trust you, they want to give you more or not. And for me, I knew deep inside I could go there. I could go up. I could really give much more. And if people wouldn't trust me, then okay, bye. I go somewhere else. I do my own path, and I will find a way to get there.
And you gave it a good time because you stayed 6 years, which is a decent.
Yeah, in Amsterdam it was difficult because it was a big company. It was really difficult. At the end, the last years, they were really, I could see that they were starting to see me, to trust me. But then suddenly there are new dancers coming and they're like amazed by the new dancers, and then they forget you because you're here for too long. And then I'm like, okay, no, now it's my time. I'm like 20, I don't know, 5 or something. And I need to, it's now. I don't want to wait 10 years to, yeah.
Okay, so good for you. You just decided that you were going to change. So what happened after Amsterdam?
Zurich. I went to Zurich with Heinz Sperli.
Woohoo!
I went there only 2 years and I wanted to leave that after 1 year.
So always with François, right? You always
we always moved together.
You were meant to be together, right? Because every time it worked out.
Sometimes we had contract just for me or just for him, but then we didn't move. We moved only when we were with two contracts. But then Zurich Ballet was amazing. I loved it, but Heinz Sperli was a bit difficult. He was a difficult director, and mentally was really, really hard because you never knew, like he could just switch. You didn't expect sometimes he could be on your back the entire day or with no reasons, or I mean, it was too unstable. Yeah, it was really difficult. So then after that, we moved to Oslo, Norway. That scares me a lot, actually. I was really scared to move to Scandinavian countries because I was scared of the cold, I was scared of the winter. But the repertoire there, Oslo started to really, we could hear a lot about Oslo, and they really had a good repertoire, mixing classical and modern and creations and really good reps.
It's a beautiful theater. I mean, it's one
and
of
the theater is amazing, and the city and the life there is amazing, even with the winter, with the long winters. And so Oslo then.
So how long did you stay in Oslo?
I stayed 1 year in Oslo, and then I moved for personal reasons. I moved to Finland.
Okay.
With Kenneth Greve. He was the director then, and I really, really enjoyed Helsinki. And what was funny in Helsinki, the rep they were doing in Helsinki was for many ballets the same as Amsterdam. So it reminded me so much of those young years where I learned everything in Amsterdam, with so many performances, so many people around. I've learned so much about how to be in the group, how to being inspired by the principals, the second soloist, or I don't know how they call it. I can't remember. Second soloist, right? No, that was the name. And it was fun to go back to those ballets where I was a baby in Amsterdam. And then I was a principal when I was in Helsinki. So then I was doing a totally different part. That was my turn to finally get there, So that was nice.
So, but then you went back to Oslo.
Then I went back to Oslo. Yeah, we went back. It was, they had a change of direction there in Oslo. And the new director actually called us back. So that's it was quite funny when you think about the rest of the years in Oslo that she was the one calling us back.
Well, do you want to share a little bit about all this, or?
Yeah. I mean, it was just a tricky point because in between that, when I went back to Oslo, I became a mom at the same time. I had my first son, and the director, she took me back as a dancer. But I was a principal since many years, but she took me as a corps de ballet. That I didn't expect, and it was a surprise. It was a total surprise when she took me back. That was the deal. I take you back, but you just had a kid, so I take you back as a corps de ballet. I don't want to take you as a principal. You have to prove that you're principal. So that was a bit of a shock. And that was actually the beginning of my struggle. Because being a mom, I was extremely unsure, insecure about how I will come back as a dancer, because your body changed and the tiredness of raising a kid and all this. And just to make it short, it took me 5 years to get my rank back. So just to tell you how hard it was. And in between, I had a second child, and but it took me 5 years to get it back. And during all those years, it was really not fair because she wouldn't give me the principal contract, but she would use me as a principal. That's all I can. In that sentence, it says it all. That yeah.
So, but how was it for you then to deal with that on a daily basis?
It was well, what for me, my entire career was about being casted, because that's the tricky part of a professional career. You don't decide if you're going to dance or not. When you're a principal, mostly you're supposed to dance the principal parts. That's okay. But when you go up, you never know you're willing to dance, you know, those principal parts. Then when you're not a principal, because you don't have the contract, you're always in between. You cannot ask for it. But in a ballet world, when people, they know you also after a while, of course, I was casted to do principal parts, but I was scared a bit to not be on the principal parts. But then when I'm there, I'm a soloist or not, as the contract says, I'll still be involved 100%. I'll still be, you know, I don't think about that when I dance. And for me, it's just to be casted to do those things because it's what I was good at, you know. I just wanted to enjoy, to explore more about all the...
But you said you were anyway casted, even though you were not.
I was casted, but sometimes not always, depending... Yeah. Not always. I was casted when people from outside were deciding.
Yeah.
When people from outside the company were deciding, then I was casted. But when it was coming from the inside, I was not always casted because I was so French, you know.
Whatever that means. So define being French in that sense.
Bad way, apparently, the bad way of being French, apparently.
Which is?
It's very cruel, actually, to always tell you by your nationality, your identity, to tell you you're so French. Yeah, but so what? I'm French, but also the guts like I put when I go on stage, and how my artistry and it wouldn't be the same if I wouldn't be French. And what is the most important? I wasn't so terrible. I don't think I was like a Sylvie Guillem saying, no, mademoiselle, no, you know, like I couldn't, I was not in that position, you know, but I don't know. I don't think I was so terrible. They didn't understand me well, I think, because what was making me maybe being French or whatever, was when people were not professional, when people were not fair, when people, because with all the big person, Reed Anderson from Stuttgart Ballet, for example, when I was working with those people, they knew what they were talking about. And when I was facing those people, we were connected. You know, we knew what we were talking about. We knew where we were going. But all those other people that don't always know what they're talking about, but they have those positions. They make you feel that you're, you know, because they're insecure in front of you, maybe. So they make you feel bad.
You could probably write a book about this.
I don't know. I think maybe, I don't know.
So, would you tell us a little bit about, because I know from talking to you a little bit previously that, you know, the end of your career was quite challenging for you, you know, and I would like you to talk a little bit about that because, you know, it might help someone who is dealing with the same thing.
For sure. Now, the end of the career was, it was hell, actually. It was really difficult because I was struggling with too many things, with the fact that seeing the time passing and knowing that actually, that might be the last one night, that might be the last thing, you know, that I'm dancing, being scared of, you don't know what's going on after. So I wanted to prepare the future, also teaching a lot on the side, and being a mom as well. It was hard to deal with both. It was really hard. And also because I had to fight to get my position back, because I didn't want to end the end of my career with this unfairness about this, who I am and who I should, the respect, you know, towards me and my career and the dancer I was. So maybe I was a bit stubborn, but I've been fighting that, but I wasn't listening to myself, that I went too far. I was really, really, really tired. I went way too far, more than anyone can take. And I fell into a burnout. I had to stop. The burnout actually arrived, of course, when my director promoted me as a soloist, finally. And that's because I was...
But you had arrived.
I was aiming for that. I was like, no, I need to get there. I cannot finish my career. I've been fighting my whole life to be a soloist. I cannot finish like that. I'm like, even though I'm dancing soloist part, but that was really important for me to get that.
Recognition or the title, what was important?
I don't know, just la reconnaissance, peut-être.
Recognition,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like, sorry, but I'm here, I exist, and please tell me that I deserve that, please.
Yeah.
I was almost begging, you know. But then I burned myself completely because I went way too far. And the day she promoted me after Carmen, the last show of Carmen, that's when I went like this.
So what happened? Because this is what is a burnout, you know, I mean, for somebody who doesn't know and maybe can't recognize the signs.
Burnout. Well, first of all, I was struggling stepping into the opera. Normally, when you go to work, you're supposed to be happy. You go, you don't think, you're tired, okay, but you go. I couldn't even step. Mentally, I was like, I was always holding back, like going late. And in no way, you don't have to take the class every day. You can do your proper training. You have to take some classes, but not every day. You can do going to the gym or some rehab or whatever. I was myself going to a studio by myself. I was completely disconnected with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I was closing myself. My personality was not the same anymore. I was sad all the time. I was struggling. I was beyond tiredness. It was, I don't know, I was exhausted. My body started to break a bit here and there physically. But mentally, I couldn't push. I couldn't, I don't know. And I really, I wasn't the same person anymore. I couldn't talk to people. I was mean. I was like fed up with everyone. I was putting myself in a bubble. I couldn't connect with people anymore. Where usually I'm not like that. I'm usually very open and very nice and very friendly, and people always love to be with me and my colleagues sharing. And I was just cutting myself from everyone. And no one saw it. Few close friends saw it, but no one tried to help.
Well, if you isolate yourself, it's hard to help you. You know,
even the physio, because the physiotherapist, I was there crying a lot. They knew I was to the limit, but no one ever said, Julie, maybe take care of yourself. Maybe you should see someone to talk to, or no one ever said that until I did it myself because I couldn't.
So what do you think? Yeah, what do you think would have helped? You know, in terms to because anyway, you did the work in the end.
What
could have supported you? What would have?
Psychologist help could have helped me. But at the opera, like a mediator with my director, maybe to talk also to this relationship with her, because that was really exhausting as well. Why don't you see me? Why don't you like me? Why? You know. And yeah, to have a mental support help.
Okay.
And I think it's not only when you have a burnout that you need that.
I know, but do you think you would have accepted it? Because that's another thing, you know, sometimes some people are not well, but then once you bring...
I wouldn't accept help from my director directly. No, but I would... yeah, for sure, because you need to have a point where you have to decide to take care of yourself, for sure. If they would have sent me to someone, probably I would have taken it badly or something, but or maybe not. I was so desperate and so tired and all alone in Norway, no family to help, you know, with the kids, and my husband also killing himself physically to work like crazy. But
maybe you would have wished you had cues, right? That people would give you little information maybe to help you.
yeah, I don't know, or to feel some support from the ballet masters as well, maybe. You know, like Julie, maybe you should have a break, maybe take a, I don't know, you know, someone, because I
Someone caring.
always felt like this career we do it alone. That was from the school, when you have a teacher taking care of you, then you're in a ballet company, you're all alone suddenly. You need to keep working by yourself. But I wish I would have a close relationship with a ballet master or someone like would really take care of me, but like as a person as well, not only the dancer for what I bring on stage, but also the person behind the dancer, not just the executant team.
But I think that's something, you know, that needs to come online. It's not only that. I think even younger dancers need to learn that as part of their curriculum. You know, you have to take care of yourself. How are you going to do that in the long run? And how is it, you know, what tools do you have, you know, to deal with that? And also know that when you can't deal with it by yourself, you need help. And there's nothing wrong with needing help. And I think
it's really hard to say it in front of the world, to say I felt terrible, to say I'm not well, because people, they still look at you like, oh, she's missing class again, or oh, she's still injured, or, you know, they look at you bad, the dancers. They don't realize actually how bad they are, the behavior, like they don't, you know. It was really, when I was on burnout, when I was at home, no one took any news, no one from all the dancers. Only one person really helped me. She was a teacher. I mean, she's still a teacher at the opera, the school. And she was the one taking care of me. She was the only one asking how I am, how I'm dealing with all this, how no dancers, like, because they're so busy probably focusing on themselves, or I don't know, but they forget probably.
the tunnel, you know, it's like you are and we've all been there, you know. It's like, this is my career, this is my role, and that's all that matters.
Exactly. But even people that you're sharing the stage with, and even, you know, they go like, oh, you okay? But that's it. They don't, but are you really okay? You know, like,
Yeah, but you have to understand that it's like a mirror, you know. I mean, we spend our whole time as ballet dancer pretending that we are on top of the world, because we are when we are on stage. But
sure.
as human beings, we're just human beings.
Exactly.
And when you collapse, it's like it's opening the door for someone else to collapse, and they don't want to see that, you know. So it's easier to just ignore it.
For sure, that's for sure. But so the end was quite difficult, because also being tired, being a mom and all this, and trying to be the best at everything, and that was not possible.
Maybe that's the problem.
That's the problem. I wanted to be too good at everything. I should
At the same time.
have given up my career much earlier, I think. But then I was scared. I was really scared to money-wise. What do? You have kids. And at the end, we had 3 kids. If you stop, what do? You have a mortgage to pay. You have, you know, it becomes to that point also, like, we have to live, we have to eat food, we have to buy clothes, and what do we do if we don't have a job? Because when I'm a ballet dancer, I just focus ballet dancer like this, ta, 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 ta. And then suddenly what? Nothing. What do you do then? How do you live every day? Am I going to work in a supermarket or something? In Norway, I don't speak Norwegian well, proper enough. What my life will be like, you know, it's you have to keep living. So that was also a very scary part. What do you do after ballet? Financially.
Well, not only financially, you know, finding a new flame is very difficult for dancers, because
I've been looking for many studying parts, like what could I study, what could I do, but nothing came to me. Like, I didn't know, like, yeah.
So you're now a ballet teacher.
How easy it was.
You found your way.
My entire career, I always said I would do something else after ballet, after my professional career, because I really am fed up with this world and I really want to do something else than ballet. And one day, Yannick Boquin, I think you know him, we were off like around a lovely dinner, like always. And he said, but really, you're going to waste all that knowledge Seriously, like you're gonna stop and you're not gonna share it to anyone, and you're gonna let bad teachers and bad people, mean people, teaching to people, and when you know all that you know. And then actually from that reflection, I was like, oh my God, like it
can
really,
actually help.
it really did something to me. And I was like, well, actually, and combining that with the fact that, okay, what is the easiest way when you're a dancer to be a ballet teacher? That's the easiest way, let's say.
Well, not necessarily. Some people are not made for that at all. It's just
No,
you
for
have
sure,
an
no, for
affinity
sure.
for that and in
No, but the
helping
thing,
others. Yes, for
the
sure.
thing is, I tried and I liked it as well. So it was, but I also, now that I'm a ballet teacher, I have more free time and all this, and I keep being curious for other things. You know, when I was a dancer, I was just dancing all the time. Now I feel like I can open. I don't know.
Don't forget you had 3 kids as well. I mean, you keep forgetting that, you know, and I was just a
I
dancer.
don't forget. Don't worry.
I had 3 kids.
I
And
don't
for
forget.
me, it's like,
Always remind me that they are there. Don't worry. No, but now with them, actually, I discover other things, which is great. You know, like they make me discover other things. Like my second son is doing cello, and I love helping him with the cello lessons. And my older one is doing football. Well, that's really, for me, it really hurts. But when I see the passion he has for football, I help him in this passion thing, because I know what it is.
yeah.
At first, I refused him to do football. I said, I'm sorry, you are good at sport. You can do anything but football. And then it was really a big thing, you know, we really fighted against him. And one day he was crying and I said, but mommy, what if you were a kid? Someone told you have to stop dancing because I don't like dancing. And that day I changed my mind.
He was right. Yeah, he's clever.
So right. And he's so happy. He's very clever. He's very clever, very smart. Yeah. And now I'm 100% behind him.
So I mean, you know, I wanted to ask a question, but you partly answered it. But you know, what would you say was your biggest challenge as a dancer?
I think, yeah, I said like the mental, maybe the bigger. I'm not talking about technique of ballet and all this, and this is not, I mean, that everybody works every day very hard to more turn out and, you know, higher legs and whatever. This is easy to work on that. Now, what was the hardest for me is that I couldn't decide for myself. This is really what was the hardest. I couldn't decide what I'm going to dance, with who I'm going to dance, or if there's a choreographer that I love, but I'm not casted for it. So what can I do?
Oh, you mean you didn't have the power to decide? It's not like you could, you had the idea of what you wanted to do, but you didn't have the power to decide. Okay.
Yeah, but that's what is hard in a professional world, that you don't have it's not in your hands what
no, you're not sovereign. You definitely, you know, handle.
The director is deciding for you. That's why I wanted to be a principal, because if I could, you know, because once you're there, normally,
yeah, that's not always.
You're supposed to dance a bit everything. Of course, there are choreographers that want to like you, or, you know, it's a personal thing as well. You cannot dance everything. You're not good at everything. That's for sure. Like Don Quixote, I do it, but really, it was really not for me. It was such a struggle to do Don Quixote for me, like really. Yeah, for me, that was the hardest, because I like to decide for my life. I always took my life in charge since I'm a little girl, and I still do. And being in the end of someone, like when the director likes you, great, it gives you everything. But when a director doesn't like you, what do you do? Because you still exactly, because you still work very hard every day. Me, I always believed in work. So for me, the most important was working, being here every day, working, you know. And if you work, they will see it at some point. There's no other way. They will, but still not sometimes. My gosh, sometimes not, you know. So it's really unfair this way. And that really, for me, is the most that was the most challenging thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great point, actually. I never thought about it that way. Funny enough,
Really?
I was, I like the fact that you point that out. No, because
For me, it was really
I struggled with it, but you know, I never. I guess I accepted the rules of the game, and you didn't accept the rules of the game.
I never did. I never
It's
did.
interesting because right now I'm doing that in my life. I don't accept the rule of the games, but at that time, it's interesting.
I'm better. Now I'm better. I accept more things, but also I have kids, so they make me change. I realize that going against the wall like this, you know, it's not worth it. So,
Yeah, they teach you a lot of things, and they're your mirror for so many things that you go like, oh my
actually, yes. And you're like, oh my God.
Ouch.
Yeah, oh my God. So many, yeah, they're so smart. And but this for me was and I never accepted that because I work hard. Of course, if a choreographer doesn't like me, I'm not going to force him for sure. I mean, I also on the other side dance things sometimes like, oh my God, what is this? But you do it. But for sure, it's yeah. For me, it was the biggest challenge.
And as you told me, and maybe you can go briefly because I know we are short of time. You know, what did COVID represent for you? What, you know, how was it useful? How was it a saving grace? How was it a pain in the neck? I mean,
for me, it was scary first, for sure. It was very scary, but it came at that point of my life that it was freedom. Actually, finally, the doors of the theaters are closing because that would never happen. You will never
make myself stop, so something will make this building close.
You will never miss a show, you know. No, but somehow at this point of
Maybe
my
it's your fault if we had COVID because you needed it so badly.
maybe I brought the spirit, but no, but you know, and during the COVID, we were free. And that was right at this point where my husband was supposed to retire. So of course, nothing, he was supposed to do a last show on stage. We were dreaming kind of this last bow that we saw for so many dancers before us, you know, this last bow, bravo, bravo, great career. And
COVID. I never dreamt about this and I never got one.
Not dreaming, but it wasn't beautiful to see, sad and beautiful at the same time. And then actually COVID. So I contacted a good friend of us, Annabelle Lopez.
I remember this on the couch. I remember that.
Listen, Annabelle, you know, François was supposed to retire. Me, I don't know where I am. I'm into a burnout and a third baby. So who cares about my career? I don't care. I can stop now. I don't care. But François did 20 years of ballet. He never had any recognition by the Ballet of World. He was a great dancer, but he never got to be a soloist because it was too, you know, quiet. And
well, you can be a great dancer without being a soloist.
I know, for sure. That's for sure. And yeah, but they never really also respected him, you know.
Appreciated him.
Yeah, and that was not nice. So I said, Annabelle, we need to do something. He cannot end up his career like this, you know. You need to do something. And she's so crazy like us. She said, okay, right, I'm going to do something. And she did this, where do the birds go? Yeah. And it was so right. Everything made sense. We had some birds on the wall. And that's where she said, oh, let me see. What do you have there? Oh, there are the birds. And then she called the little piece she made for us, where do the birds go? At this point where we had no idea where we were going because the world was, you know, and it was so nice to take the decision to say, okay, Annabelle, let's do that. And she said, yeah, we do that. And then we
were in charge.
We were in charge. And it was so, and that I love. And now it's what I like being a teacher as well. I'm in charge for the project, you know, I can bring to my students and I can
can you give your students the freedom you needed?
No. No, it's not true.
To think about.
I'm saying no, actually, no, it's not true, because at first I was a bit very picky, you know, a fifth should be fifth and stretch your knees and that. And actually I realized I'm like, I don't have students that wants to be professional. I have kind of everyone. Mm-hmm. So I realized it's not so important to be in a perfect fifth, and who cares about the stretch knee, and who cares if, you know, but I want them to feel the movement. I want them to understand the music. I want them to be in the energy of the movement. I want them to enjoy dancing. And I think I put this more in front of anything else, actually. So actually, I do give a lot of freedom because I'm not so picky with the step en dehors your feet when you walk. They don't have a turnout naturally. How can you ask them to step turnout, you know, if they cannot do it with their hips? I mean, what's the point? But be with the music when you step. And how do you put your feet on the floor like a cat, you know, softly, like we're supposed to be light, you know? So I prefer to go in that direction than being in the perfect like lines and stuff.
I believe that perfection can be freedom too. You know, it's like
I'm going on that path, and it works very well, actually.
because if you understand why you're doing something, it's not
I totally agree with that. I totally agree, and it gives them freedom, and then they enjoy more. Like one day when the student, she told me, because she's a very control freak, and she said, but the head, where's the head? Here or there? And I said, you know what? She's 17 years old. I said, you know what? Wherever you want it to be, I don't care. Feel with the flow. You did that before. So where are you going to put it to go into the next step? I don't care. Just dance and breathe. And I don't want unless you do something difficult and technical, you need to have the head here because it will help the movement. But the rest, artistry, breathe, feel, be yourself. I don't care. So she was really like disappointed. She didn't know what to do.
Oh, that's good. Well, and it, you know, most people do not want to be free because it's too hard. You have to take responsibility and decide for yourself. And
some
I think
students
95% people don't want to do that.
And some students, they really, they don't know. They are completely lost when I give this freedom, actually.
Yeah, I know.
That's why sometimes I feel they do classical ballet because they like to be structured, you know, by the rules, by the teacher, by this, by the step. And then suddenly you give freedom into that structure. And they're a bit like,
yeah, it's hard to live your freedom fully, for sure. But that would be another full interview for
oh
you.
God, I know.
Okay, so last questions, guys. I know you have to go. If you had one advice to give to a young dancer that starts, you know, their career, what would that be?
Oh, that's hard. That's a hard question. I thought about it, but I couldn't answer it.
Well,
listen to yourself, work hard. That's for sure. You need to work. You cannot be a dancer without working. You need to be here every day to work out your body. You need to take strength, you know, by working every day, you take more strength and all that. Open to other people. Don't be self-focused. Like, don't be, you know, because that's what I miss the most about ballet, actually, is that sharing, being in the group or being with your partner, the partnering and all this. This is what I miss the most, the contact, eye contact, movement contact, physical contact. That's what I miss the most. Keep working hard. Listen to yourself when you feel that you're not well. Go and get help.
Be in tune with where you're at, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. I mean,
this I want to say to them, because for me, it was really, I thought it was being weak, you know, so that I'm not well and I'm asking for help. I was like, my God, I'm so weak. I'm so bad. I'm supposed to be a soloist, a strong girl, whatever. The title doesn't give you any strength. Huh? That's not a superpower. There's nothing wrong about being not well.
Vulnerable.
Exactly. You can be, it's okay. You get help. You learn about yourself when you're not well, and you find a way to get, because you will always get through it, for sure. Always. And you learn, you know, but when you're young, you don't always think about all this. Maybe it's with the age, maybe you see that more.
But it depends, I think it's when we encounter obstacles that we start thinking about that. When there is no obstacle, we kind of, you know, go straight forward, which is normal. It's human.
So maybe I should say, listen to your emotions. As an advice for the young ones.
Big problem, not problem, program. It can be a problem too. Yeah.
Let them, feel your emotions and try to deal with them. Don't let your emotion like guide you and make you do crazy things, but
take over
and accept and go with the flow and go through it. If it's bad emotions, go through it. You will get better always. If it's good ones, don't be, you know.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
It's about learning to stay neutral, you know.
And to
matter what
know
happens.
yourself, not easy to know yourself. Yeah.
Well, it takes a lifetime.
Yeah. It's a big program, as you said.
Yes, that's beautiful. Julie, thank you so much. I know you have to go because you have your little ones to go.
Always.
So, thank you so much
Thank you.
for spending that time with me and sharing your beautiful self with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.